embodies the values of the independence movement. And together with the whole nation, we will make Korea great. The Independence Hall of Korea.
안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Friday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-hwa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment with a special focus on K-movies today, K-exhibitions, K-tourism, K-everything. And we'll do all of that together with our Friday co-host, Bella Kim. Hello, Bella.
Hi, Soa. Happy Friday, Soa.
Happy Friday.
And happy Friday to everyone joining us today on The Culture Wave. I'm Bella, here to co-host and fill you guys in with the latest in K-entertainment.
And we're also joined by our Arirang's news features reporter, An Sung-jin. Hello, Sung-jin. TGIF.
TGIF, guys. And hello to all of our viewers watching Culture Wave. My name is An Sung-jin. I'm a news features reporter here at Arirang News.
And Sung-jin, I'm saying TGIF because you've been working hard this week. You were down in the city of Gyeongju. So what were you up to?
Right, so we have less than 100 days left till APEC 2025 Korea. And among other things, I actually went down to see an exhibition that showcased 4 masters of Korean modern and contemporary art in celebration of the upcoming event. Have a look at it, what it was like. A collection of 4 of the greatest. Kim Won-gi, Park Soo-gun, Lee Jung-sop, and Jang Wook-jin are artists who represent Korean contemporary art, and works of all 4 can be seen together at Gyeongju Arts Center. In celebration of the 2025 APEC Economic Leaders Meeting taking place in Gyeongju this fall, the exhibition, a collaboration between MMCA and Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power, puts the spotlight on Korean art. These 4 leading figures of modern and contemporary art reflect the hardships of their era as well as Korea's tradition and nature, which they show through their own unique artistic style. Kim Won-gi is known as the pioneer of Korean abstract art through his notable pieces, including mountains. His signature style of all-over dot paintings is often seen on canvases filled with blue dots. Park Soo-gun also had his own style in portraying human goodness with layers of oil paint, as seen with his painting Under the Tree. And just like Park, who illustrated the hardships of ordinary people in post-war Korea, Lee Jung-sop expressed his hardships and emotions, such as deep longing for his family, using silver foil paintings like in Family. And like all other artists, Jang Wook-jin also focused on the everyday aspects of life that are reflected on his canvases through simple yet clear depictions, as seen in Village.
I got to see all the artists in one spot, and as someone who's interested in art, I had to see the artworks up close. Pieces from artist Kim Won-gi are not so easily seen, and to see the change throughout his work was moving.
Through the special exhibition with all 4 artists, visitors can see the essence of Korean beauty. And the Gyeongju Foundation for Arts and Culture notes that more such events in accordance with the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting will take place to boost the city.
Holding such a large-scale exhibition means a lot. Not only will it contribute to the vitalization of regional culture and art, but by hosting these exhibitions outside of Seoul and the capital area, allow local residents to explore these cultural events and boost their pride.
This exhibition runs till October, so for those interested in exploring Korean contemporary and modern art, visit the historical city of Gyeongju.
Wow, wonderful art pieces. But Songjin, it's probably different from watching it here, but being at the exhibition yourself.
Absolutely.
So was there any memorable piece there for you?
Right, so I got to take a look at the exhibition carefully enough to pick out one favorite piece, and out of all of the ones that are obviously great and representative of Korean and contemporary art, it's actually the one that I've already talked about in my article, but the piece from Park Soo-gun titled Under the Tree stuck with me the most. I think it might be because they had a larger replica next to it, but this piece from 1961 is very textured, though all of it just represents a simple tree.
Wow. And Songjin, the official at the Gyeongju Foundation for Arts and Culture, said there's more to come. So please tell us what we can expect.
Right, so she hinted at two different events that coincide with APEC 2025 Korea. The first one being the International Gyeongju History Culture Forum, which is a 3-day forum that connects renowned scholars and writers from across the globe with the public through open conversations. Now, the second one is an exhibition titled The Chronicles of Gyeongju. Though the dates are still to be decided, she said that they are working on it and will be providing interactive work to show the identity of Gyeongju through modern and contemporary culture. So if you guys want to check it out, you might have to wait for the date to come out.
And we hope we're going to have that covered here as well.
Absolutely.
But for now, thank you very much, Songjin, for that historical and cultural addition to the Culture Wave today.
My pleasure as always, guys.
Time for some K-entertainment news with Bella Kim. Bella, yesterday we talked about how G-Dragon has become the ambassador, of course, of APEC 2025 Korea. Now today we're going to talk about another big star who has become an ambassador of something that's very meaningful for a culture program like us, right?
Definitely. Actor Park Bo-gum has been appointed as the honorary ambassador for Korea tourism for the year of 2025. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism will officially appoint Park as the ambassador next Tuesday. The ministry often works with top-tier Hallyu stars to promote their annual campaigns, including BTS, Lee Jung-jae, and New Jeans. Park, who was one of the stars of the recent Netflix hit When Life Gives You Tangerines, or 폭삭 속았다 in Korean, will now lead efforts to promote Korea abroad over the next year. As an ambassador, he will appear in 2 videos produced in the style of a short form and music video. He also recorded the tourism campaign's official theme song, On My Way. The campaign videos will be screened on landmark billboards in 16 major cities around the globe, including New York's Times Square, Tokyo, Beijing, and Bangkok as well.
Well, yesterday we indirectly invited G-Dragon to the program, but we're also very welcome to have Park Bo-gum here in the studio, of course, to talk about tourism and culture.
Definitely.
But Bella, you mentioned New Jeans was also part of ambassador program, but on a different note, the third hearing of the New Jeans Adore lawsuit took place yesterday on Thursday. So tell us more about that.
That is correct. The legal standoff between New Jeans and their agency Adore rumbles on, with both sides presenting conflicting arguments over the validity of the group's exclusive contract. Now, on Thursday, the Seoul Central District Court held the third hearing in Adore's lawsuit, seeking to confirm the enforceability of its contracts with New Jeans. New Jeans' attorney claimed that Adore failed to meet fundamental management responsibilities, alleging that this breach justified the members' attempt to end their ties. On the other hand, Adore rejected the accusations, asserting that there is no reasonable grounds to terminate their contract. The case will now move into mediation, with a closed-door mediation session scheduled for August 14th. If an agreement is reached, the result will carry the same legal effect as a settlement in court. If the mediation fails, a tentative court ruling date is set for October 30th.
Well, keep us updated. But Bella, we're going to end off now with a boy group that's dropping a new album.
Stray Kids will soon release a new full-length album titled Karma. Their agency, JYP Entertainment, announced that the group's 4th full-length album, Karma, will be released on August 22nd. Now, this comes 2 years after their last full-length album, 5 Star. The trailer video for the upcoming album leaps through time to the year 2081, where the 8 members compete against each other in 2081 Karma Sports as a former winners of this same event. Stray Kids are currently traveling around Europe for their world tour, Dominate, and they will wrap up this tour, which went to 34 cities, with their final show in Rome next week.
Well, looking forward to many more milestones by the group. And thank you very much, Bella, for those updates. Stick around.
Stick around.
And now let's take a look at what Ari has for us on the culture front. Ari?
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. A K-pop street is set to be established in Luanda, the capital of Angola. The Korean embassy in Angola planned to sign an MOU with the city's Ranzel district in October, outlining a framework for cooperation on the project. The embassy expressed confidence the street will serve as a year-round hub for showcasing Korean culture and a platform to strengthen cultural ties between the two countries. The announcement follows the regional preliminaries of the 2025 K-pop World Festival held in Ranzel, where 14 teams performed before an audience of over 600 fans. The top 3 teams will move on to the next round of global auditions, with a chance to compete in the finals set for this October in Korea's southern city of Changwon. A postcard signed by Korean marathon legend Song Ki-jeong, shortly after his 1936 Berlin Olympics victory, has been unveiled to the public for the first time. It's part of the National Museum of Korea's special exhibition, The Radiant Strides, Moving the World, being showcased to mark the 80th anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japan. Song won gold with a new Olympic record but was forced to compete under the Japanese flag, as Korea was under colonial rule. The museum says the postcard reflects Son's strong desire to assert his Korean identity. Also on display are his Olympic gold medal, laurel crown, and other memorabilia, including items highlighting his symbolic role as the final torchbearer at the 1988 Seoul Olympics. The exhibition runs through December. The first solo exhibition in Korea dedicated to Chinese contemporary art master Wu Guanzong opened today at the Seoul Arts Center. Running through October 19th, the exhibition is part of the Hong Kong Week 2025 at Seoul program, curated by the Hong Kong Museum of Art. 17 of Wu's representative works are on display under 3 themes: white, gray, and black. Wu was one of the most important Chinese painters of the 20th century, widely recognized for his lasting impact on the global art scene. That's all from me. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
Here's a note to Arirang TV viewers. We are conducting a survey for our programs, including the Culture Wave, to meet our viewers' expectations. Please visit us at www.arirang.com or on the mobile app Arirang TV to give us your valuable feedback. You also have a chance to win some Bluetooth earbuds and K-pop merch. Korea's movie theater landscape appears to be undergoing some change this summer season. Instead of the classic male-dominated summer blockbusters, audiences are opting for horror films with young female leads. While female-centered horror movies have been around for a long time, they have recently had a resurgence with fresh material. For more, we invite Jae So, professor and filmmaker at Seoul Institute of the Arts, into the studio. Welcome, Professor So.
Nice to be back.
All right, so before we jump into our main topic today, we've got some welcoming news in the Korean box office regarding some films that we have been anticipating for a long time. So let's start with that first.
Yeah, so right now, like abroad and also in Korea, there's the movie The King of Kings, which is an animation, 3D animation that surprisingly, because it's based on the Bible, it's doing really well. Globally, it's made about $68 million, so that's a huge bump, and it's directed by basically the president of Mofax Studio, a CG company. Right. So, you know, he really kind of struck gold with this, and he has a lot. I think Lee Byung-hun does the Korean language version of all the animation voices, but you have Ben Kingsley, you have a lot of really big actors in that, so that's done really well. In Korea, it's done about 450,000 people at the box office. And I want to also talk about this movie, 전지적 작가의 시점, which is in English, The Omniscient Reader. And this is based on a famous webtoon by Xing Xiang. And basically, it's a fantasy action movie, and right now it's #1 in the box office. It just started, so it's only about 500,000 people have seen it, but it's gaining a lot of traction in the media. And, you know, it has Lee Min-ho and it has Jisoo from Blackpink in it. So I think a lot of people are really excited to watch this kind of action movie in the summer. Yeah.
I'm also very excited about that one, as I haven't watched it yet because it just got released.
Right.
But The King of Kings, I really had to contemplate between whether I should watch the English version or the Korean version, because we have really great actors behind the voices. So I started with the English version. I'm probably going to go back to the Korean version once more. But Professor So, it's now going to get a little scary, and I think our Bella has to be warned. She might get some goosebumps today.
I know. Well, summer does mean it's time for horror movies. Especially this summer, female actresses are, you know, in their 20s, especially 30s, are, you know, notable for taking the main characters. So please tell us more about this, Professor.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a coincidence, but there are a lot of female leads in these horror films. So we have Noise with Lee Sun-bin. She was in a girl band called JQT, and Noise is doing really well in the theaters, directed by a first-time director, Kim Soo-jin. So that's a film. And then we have 2 films coming out. One is called Ghost Train. It has Ju Yeon-young, who is from The Extraordinary Lawyer Woo Young-woo, and she's in SNL. So now she's in a dramatic role for that. And also, there's a movie called The Ghost Game, about sort of seances and things like that. That has Kim Ye-rin from Red Velvet coming out. So these movies are sort of a trend where, you know, traditionally horror movies do have a female lead, like, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street, things like that. But in Korea, it's sort of unusual that all these movies are coming out together, where sort of the main character is a woman. And right now, audiences seem to really like it.
That's very interesting. I mean, there is an assumption that female lead movies could be a kind of box office risk. But with these releases this summer season, do you think that perception could be broken?
Well, I think it's a global trend. There's a lot of movies coming out where, you know, a lot of female leads are happening. And just recently, I saw, you know, Scarlett Johansson with, you know, basically Jurassic Park series. So it's proving that it depends on sort of like, I think the audiences are now very attuned to watching certain genres where women characters are sort of the lead. And I think it's finally catching up in Korea. But I think Korea's a Confucius society and very conservative views on women. But I think finally we're breaking free of those kinds of, I guess, traditional views about women. And I think audiences are sophisticated enough to go see a movie where the woman is the lead. Yeah.
That's welcoming news.
Yes, definitely. And these female-centered plots in horror movies are actually nothing really new, as you said as well, because we've had several hit horror films in Korea that was, you know, female main character as well. But what can you infer about these recent movies getting attention more?
I think one of the things about right now, you know, we had horror movies coming out, and that's traditionally does really well in the summer because, you know, it's really hot. You go inside a cool theater, and then suddenly these movies are jumping right at you, so it really scares you. I think it's also, horror is a genre that I think it's best seen in a theater with a lot of people where everybody screams at the same time. I remember seeing a movie in the U.S. where, you know, basically it was almost like an interactive movie where the audiences were so into it, they were screaming at the actress who was about to open a door, they might be killed. They're like, watch out, things like that. So right now in movies, this is sort of, the horror trend is really happening. And I think after COVID, you know, it's about time that we all go to the theater and collectively enjoy something. And I think horror is definitely a magnet for audiences to come to the theaters to watch that together.
And I have to say, for people who are not as good with horror movies as I am, I think it's less scary to go to the theater and watch all together instead of by myself in my home, right? So I usually go to theaters to watch horror movies if I have to catch one that's, you know, really doing well.
Right.
You can grab the person next to you.
Yes. And yell and, you know,
hopefully that's not going to be me. But I was going to say, maybe after hearing from Professor So, I was getting convinced to watch, to go watch these movies that we just introduced today, because I'm also not a big fan of horror movies in general, but again, having that interaction with other people, being scared altogether is definitely one of the things that could even let us go to the movie theaters to watch those horror movies, because we even had some difficulties watching the trailer before.
Yes, I did. right.
And they make some scary trailers these days.
Right.
For sure.
Now, let's move on, Professor Su. Another interesting aspect we are seeing right now is in recent horror productions, there are storylines that are based on reality-based stories. So that means some social life issues, from noisy neighbors to social media. So why do you think audiences are kind of drawn to these kind of real horror-based stories?
Well, these kind of reality-based horror is, first of all, it's scary to be based on something that could really happen to you. So it's a primal fear that really it's triggered by these movies, and also the anxieties that we feel are sort of realized onto the screen. And it's become almost a genre in itself. There's a lot of stuff with found footage, or there's a YouTuber sort of carrying a camera that's live streaming, and then something really scary happens. So, for example, basically Ghost Train is about a YouTuber who is covering some, subway station where people have disappeared, and then suddenly stuff happens to her. So, these are things where I think when you go see it in a theater, and then after you have to take the subway home, it kind of hits you like, oh, I just watched something that could really happen to me.
Right.
So, so that's a trend that's happening, and it seems like right now, film is a reflective of the zeitgeist of all the audience members, and right now it seems like people want more reality-based stories. I think it really scares them. And recently, I think reality has been scary. We had the martial law, and then, the pandemic. It seems like the world is kind of a scary place right now. So.
And that's interesting that you mentioned, for instance, the subway. We get scared after watching that and having to use the subway. That's very realistic, while ghosts, for instance, are not
supernatural.
I mean, some believe in them, but the general public probably is more afraid of things that could happen in reality. So that's an interesting point here.
Just by watching the trailer previously, something that's more fictional is less scary than something that's non-fiction. That's real life is a little bit more scary for me. At the same time, there seems to be an increasing diversity of styles in these horror movies lately. So what are some works that you're kind of keeping eye on for?
Well, recently, it's playing in the theaters right now. Noise is an excellent movie. It's directed by Kim Soo-jin, a first-time director. And he chose, basically, there's a movie called Wall to Wall on Netflix, which is happening at the same time. It's about living in a high-rise apartment, and you're hearing scary sounds. Noise is about basically two sisters that live together, and one of the sisters disappears. The other one has sort of problems with hearing, and then basically you hear these noises happening, and you're trying to figure out where the noise is coming from. So what I really like about the two movies, for example, is the use of sound. A lot of times in movies, it's a sound effect, or the movie music suddenly crashes in, and then I see people jump in the theater. So using sound is probably as a psychological sort of factor to scare you. A lot of times when you're scared alone in your house, it's the sounds that scare you. It's not so much the images, you hear somebody's footsteps, or you hear a creeping door open, and then it's your imagination starts to think what's behind there. So movies are a perfect example where those sorts of fears are realized onto the screen.
I'm also more afraid of the background sounds of horror movies than actually the visual effects. But Professor Su, there seems to be a preference for films that bring real-life horror and social anxiety to the screen. So in your opinion, how different is that from past scary movies and scary movies today?
Right. I mean, we talked about how the trend towards women characters. In traditional horror in Korea, it was really based on supernatural, ghost stories, basically. But now it seems the trend's moving towards urban legend stories, things that you've heard about on the internet, or that your friend has talked about, and perfect example is the Ring series. It's basically about a story where, you're not supposed to watch a videotape of an image, and you watch it, and then you're cursed. So the trend towards that sort of supernatural start is now creeping towards more reality-based. I think, supernatural is interesting. We saw Exuma, which was also, it's kind of like an occult movie and all this stuff. But at the same time, I think the sort of reality-based movies where it could really happen to you and it's psychological, those are the most scary movies because you start to dream about them. You have nightmares after you see the movies, and it's not like they let you go. I think a supernatural event is something so fantastic that you're thinking, yeah, it could happen to me. But if you watch something like as I said, in a subway, or you go back to your like lonely apartment or something like that, and you start to hear sounds, that could really affect you later. You know, so those are the things that people get a thrill out of. And I think the great thing about movies is that it's not really happening to you. I mean, you could see the characters dying and stuff, like it's really scary. But it's a release, a cathartic release when you go see the movies, and you feel like a lot safer afterwards, in my opinion.
Very briefly, Professor So, is it the end of ghost movies, supernatural movies? Do you see the trend now more leaning towards reality-based stories?
I don't think so. Supernatural stories, you know, I think in Asian lore, just in Korean, if you go back to Korean shamanism, there's so many scary stories, you know. So, you know, Kumio is like the perfect story of like, you know, Korean ghost stories, and there's Japanese and Chinese ghost stories. So that's not going to go away. And also, I think a lot of webtoon stories are based on that. So those are going to be made into movies. But I think right now, it's a trend towards sort of reality-based, because right now that seems to be interesting to a lot of audience members. So that's the movement.
Quite recently, Exuma, for instance, was also a big hit. So let's hope to see this mixture of all of these kinds of horror movies. And thank you very much for your insights today. Have a safe and pleasant weekend.
Thank you, be safe.
Be safe. And thank you, Bella, as always. We're going to see you back next week.
Yes, I'll see you back next week.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Week, Culture Wave, that is, of course. Have a pleasant weekend, everyone, maybe with a good movie or two. And we'll be back next week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Korea time.
Arirang TV is conducting an overseas TV viewer survey to provide you with a better global broadcast service. Share your valuable feedback on the Arirang TV website www.arirang.com or mobile application. Survey participants will be selected at random to receive special gifts. 2025 Arirang Overseas TV Viewer Survey. We look forward to hearing from you.
Your gateway to Korea, Simply K-pop. Hello, I'm your Simply K-pop MC Taewi of AB6. 안녕하세요.
Hello, and I'm your special MC Alan of Gravity. Great seeing y'all.
Hold me back, lost in a dream and falling fast. 어떤 날은 네가 부르고 있는 것만 같아.